What's up everyone, John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo here, and I want to give you a head-to-head comparison of the two current iPhone models, the iPhone 3GS and the just released iPhone 4. As you're considering whether or not the upgrade is worthwhile, or maybe you're waiting in line, or maybe you're thinking about switching over to AT&T for an iPhone, these are the two choices you're going to have. So there's a lot of things we can cover, but today we're going to cover specs, app speed, camera, size, and a few miscellaneous things. So let's jump right into the specs. Price-wise, the iPhone 4 is going to set you back either $199 for a 16 gig model or $299 for a 32 gig model. The iPhone 3GS now only comes in 8 GB configuration for $99. Processor-wise, the iPhone 4 uses Apple's System-on-a-Chip A4 processor, the same one that's found in the iPad, whereas the iPhone 3GS uses a 600 MHz Cortex A8 architecture chip. The same 3.5-inch screens at each, however the iPhone 4 has a resolution of 960 by 640, whereas the iPhone 3GS has one of 480 by 320. So a huge difference there. Now, does that screen make a difference? Does this new Retina display that you've heard about really, in reality, affect the way you view things and help you view things? Let me go ahead and show you. And even by looking at the phones right now, you can probably clearly see a difference between the two. The iPhone 4 just looks sharper. Let's look at some simple text first, so go ahead and open up Notes. Same thing's written on each, it just says text, and you can see, I think very clearly, hopefully this translates to video, that the text is clear, the backgrounds are richer, and things just look a bit easier to read. However, just seeing one word on a Notes application maybe isn't going to be enough proof for you. Let's go ahead and jump into a web page, for example. So we've got Techno Buffalo queued up on each, and we're going to come back to these web pages to talk about speed a little bit later. Let me go ahead and zoom in. So you've got some text right there. Go ahead and zoom right in here. And then you have some text right there as well. Now you may not be able to see the difference there on camera, or maybe you can, but the Retina display and the new display on the iPhone, things just look crisper, and it's a lot easier to view documents. I've had much less eye strain, at least in the day that I've had reading documents on the iPhone 4. So whether or not that's going to sort of keep true as you use the device more, and maybe you'll get used to it and still get that eye strain, sort of has yet to be seen. But when you're viewing pictures or documents, it just looks a little bit brighter on the iPhone 4. And actually, I made a video comparing the two displays, the iPhone 4 and the iPhone 3GS. You can check that out. I'll put links to that down below in the sidebar if you want more on the Retina display. Let's go ahead and keep moving along, so we got a lot to cover here. Let's go ahead and just move on to camera, because there's a lot to discuss in the camera realm here. The iPhone 3GS has one camera, and that camera resolution is a 3-megapixel sensor, and it can actually shoot video as well at 30 frames per second and has some basic video editing built in. The camera on the iPhone 4 is a 5-megapixel camera. It can take 720p video at 30 frames per second, and you can have sort of the optional iMovie download to edit your video. Let's go ahead and see what these cameras look like, and at the end of this video, I'm going to put in some demonstration of the video and still quality. In fact, I may even edit it in right now, so you can see sort of what that looks like, and I'll put in some more at the end. Okay, so now that you've seen the camera quality, let's go ahead and check out the difference between the camera interfaces, because there's a lot to talk about here. And in addition to just the rear-facing camera, the iPhone 4 has a front-facing camera, which you can see right next to the earpiece, which shoots at VGA resolution, which you can use for video chat called FaceTime, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Let's go ahead and jump right into the cameras on each. So the iPhone 4, you're immediately greeted with a few other options. You right now have a flash. It actually has a built-in LED flash on the back, whereas the iPhone 3GS does not. And you can sort of adjust how that flash works. So it's got an auto right there. I can choose to either have it on or off. Also, there's a new icon in the upper left-hand corner, which will let me switch cameras to the front-facing camera. And you can now see me leaning over the camera, which is using the VGA camera on the front. So you do have a few more options. You can see the quality on the iPhone 4 is definitely much improved. Both have tap to focus. You can use the LED flash, however, on the back of the iPhone 4 with video or still, and actually have zoom now built into each for still pictures. Let's go ahead and exit out of this. So a lot has been made about the processor in the iPhone 4. Is it really that much faster? Well, let's check it out. I'm going to go ahead and close all running applications. You can see what this looks like. I'm going to double tap the home buttons on each. Close everything up. Going to hold down an icon, do a little jiggly dance, and I can shut it off. So we're dealing with sort of the same apples to apples type test, so to speak. So we're going to try and open up different applications here at the same time and see if we have noticeable speed difference. Let's go ahead and try Calendar, for example, and see how that affects everything. So a little bit faster on the iPhone 4, and I'm going to go ahead and leave every program that we have open as we continue the test. So Calendar opened a bit quicker. Let's go ahead and open up, let's say, the App Store. So once again, quicker on the iPhone 4, and these are both using the same Wi-Fi network, I should tell you. So once again, things are a bit quicker. Let's go ahead and open up, let's say, Stocks. And once again, just a little bit faster on the iPhone 4. And we'll do one more program, and then we'll do a quick browser test. Let's try and open up Maps, for example. You can see how quickly it pulls down our satellite location. So it sort of found the general area where we are. And this is another way you actually can see the difference between the Retina display as well. You get a lot more crisp images and less text pixelating on the iPhone 4. So actually the iPhone looks like I picked them about the same time. So we've got the same area, don't have the exact location, maybe we're not outside. Let me zoom in and show the speed here, the renderings. Oftentimes that's a big difference. So panning around, there's a bit of a wait. Panning around here, you get a little bit farther, and the pages sort of load up a little bit quicker on the iPhone 4, although admittedly not that much faster. Zooming in, let's zoom in a little bit, and you can see how quickly pages render, and how quickly pages render here on the iPhone 3GS. And looking at the text too, you can sort of, the more you zoom in, you can see the difference between the Retina display. So we'll go ahead and close this. Let's see how fast the web pages load on each. And again, we're on the same Wi-Fi network. We'll go ahead and refresh Techno Buffalo. We got Techno Buffalo loading up on each. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this here, and we'll do a refresh. And this page has been loaded on both, so this will be a pretty fair test of the site that you visit on a regular basis. So we'll go ahead and just hit go on each at the same time. Alright, and we are off. And I actually have not tested this before, so this will be sort of new results to me as well. And it looks like there's a pretty clear advantage there between the iPhone 4 and the iPhone 3GS. And it looks like the iPhone 4 is actually done and finished a little bit quicker than the iPhone 3GS. So there's another example of where the speed comes into play. Is anything giant? Is there a huge speed difference where it's 10 times as fast? The simple answer is no, it's not. But doing general things, it is a bit quicker. There's 512 megabytes of RAM, double what the 3GS has. As you keep more programs open and running, you're already going to see a bit of a difference. Something to keep in mind there as well. So let's go ahead and talk about size, because there's a lot of difference here between the size as well as the general sort of designs of the phones. So the weight, the new iPhone 4 is 137 grams, 2 grams heavier than the 135 gram 3GS. Dimensions, we're looking at 115.2 by 58.6 by 9.3 millimeters on the iPhone 4. On the 3GS, 115 by 62.1 by 12.3 millimeters, which means the iPhone 4 is about a quarter thinner. And that's sort of hard to see when you look at the phone side by side, because the iPhone 3GS is sort of that tapered edge, whereas the iPhone 4 does not, but it definitely is thinner. And the design is really one spot where I really see a huge difference between the iPhone 3GS and the iPhone 4. The solid steel bands around the side of the iPhone 4, which are actually used as antennas as well, give the phone a much higher quality industrial feel, and it feels fantastic in the hand. The iPhone 3GS, on the other hand, now feels plasticky and cheap after holding the iPhone 4. It doesn't have that same sort of durable feel that the iPhone 4 has. So something to keep in mind as you sort of weigh your options and try and figure out which phone is better for you. Now, the big feature here, and the one that really sells the iPhone 4 to me, is the front-facing camera, the ability to do something called FaceTime. I did a video demonstrating how this works, and that'll be down below as well. But FaceTime lets you do video chatting, and it's real video chatting. The quality is fantastic. It doesn't use your AT&T minutes or whatever carrier you're using. It actually transfers to a voice over IP client, so you don't use your minutes at all. It's a very seamless transfer from regular call to FaceTime call. Although unfortunately it is now just over Wi-Fi only, something to keep in mind. Sort of some other specs to keep in mind. The iPhone 4 has 802.11n, so that's A, B, G, and N, whereas the 3GS just has B and G, so you get fancier data transfers if you're using a wireless N network. Something to keep in mind. The iPhone 4 has an accelerometer, a compass, and a gyroscope, whereas the 3GS has an accelerometer and compass. Now, we're not going to see much use of that until developers put it to really good use. That'll mean to be able to sort of see things moved around in the three-dimensional axis. So as opposed to just accelerometer, where it's left and right playing a game, on the iPhone 4, in addition to being able to go left and right, be able to go forward and back, and be able to sense that movement. So we'll see how developers really implement that, whether or not it's something that's important. That's really sort of the big gist between the two, the cameras and the front-facing design, the LED flash on the back, the better display, the FaceTime built-in software, the faster processor. There's a lot to like about the iPhone 4, and it's probably the biggest upgrade that we've seen in the entire history of the iPhone. Sort of from the iPhone Generation 1 to the iPhone 3G, we saw different design. 3G network from the iPhone 3G to 3GS, we saw no different design, but really just a faster phone overall. And from the 3GS to the iPhone 4, really most things have changed on it. It still has the same iPhone look, but it's got a very different feel to it. Something to definitely keep in mind. Is it worth the upgrade? I think it most certainly is. I think getting something like being able to record HD video replaces a flip camera or whatever other you're using for portable video. The new 5-megapixel sensor really takes great pictures. Now you might be saying, well, why is it just 5 and other phones have 8-megapixel sensors? Well, the quality of the picture isn't just about the megapixel of the camera, it's how the camera handles the image. And the iPhone does a fantastic job at handling the images. And you'll see some copies of stills at the end of this to determine really which one is better for you. But it does handle pictures very well. Would it replace my standalone camera? It might for regular shooting, certainly for vacations and such that still want a dedicated unit. So guys, what do you think about the iPhone 3GS versus the iPhone 4? Is it worth the upgrade for you? Are you upgrading? Are you on the fence waiting to see what comes out next? We'd like to hear what you have to say. Leave your comments down below. Anyway, I'm John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo. Be sure to check out the website for all of your tech news, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.